Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-free review for National Treasure: Edge of History, episodes 1 and 2. Everything I thought I knew about my dad, my whole family for that matter, is a crazy riddle that can only be solved by finding this treasure. Hey there, my name is Nate, and this is our spoiler-free review for episodes 1 and 2 of National Treasure: Edge of History. Special thanks to our friends, as always, at Disney Plus Canada for giving us the opportunity to watch this series early for review. If you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast focusing on the world of movies, TV shows, games, toys, and collectibles, and all things geek-centric. Now, joining me for this exploration to the edge of history, let me introduce you to the treasure hunters joining me today. First up, we've got the mistress of mysteries, the harbinger of histories, and crossword consistories. She's Megan, the mapmaster, Clara.
Wow. At first I was like, ooh, I like the word harbinger. And then what was that other? Consistories?
Consistories. Look it up.
Never heard that word before.
It has something to do with religion. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure it's fine. Don't worry. I literally looked up like history words that rhyme with history. Anyways. And listen, after solving 3 escape rooms in 2 continents in 1 day, he's the dissector of the Declaration of Indank Pendants. He's Darcy, the dapper diplomat Hudson.
Yeah, Indank Pendants. I could definitely go for that. That's awesome.
I think we all gained, at least in Canada, we've got our Indank Pendants.
Yep.
I know a few places in the States have Indank Pendants.
Yep.
I think that's what they
the
should have
future
called it
across
that.
the world is just everyone will be smoking weed because
That's it.
just you get so relaxed and chill.
Dude, it's happening. Put it in my food. How are both of you doing this fine evening?
Good. It's cold over here. We're getting cold in Canada.
Oh yeah. Has it started snowing? We're literally the weather. That's the best thing that people want to hear about right as soon as we start a podcast. Is it snowing though in Ontario? Because here in Nova Scotia, we've only gotten little flakes every now and then.
Yeah, where I'm at, it's currently snowing right now. Looking out my window.
There you go.
I can also vouch for that. I mean, I'm not too far from where Meg is, but it's also snowing here. It wasn't snowing up until this point, but the last week you could tell it was coming and around the corner. So definitely wasn't surprised to wake up to a blanket outside this morning.
There you go. Well, listeners, we are a Canadian podcast. We're talking about snow. So there's a mystery solved for you. But speaking of mysteries and histories, before we get into this, before we light our torches to explore our thoughts on these 2 episodes, I wanted to know, what has your experience been with the NTCU, the National Treasure Cinematic Universe? Megan, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I remember going to see both the original movies in theaters, and when I saw the first one, I don't think I'd ever seen like a mystery treasure hunting movie before, because I don't think I'd seen Indiana Jones at that point, and I loved it. One of my favorite things about the original movies is the ability to try to solve the puzzle before they do. So you get those clues and those hints throughout the movies, and it's like a really fun, experience of kind of like an escape room, but you're just watching them do it. I mean, it's also, the original ones are all American history. This show is Mexican American history, so I can't really relate to anything in them, but it's super interesting and super fun to watch, and I love Nicolas Cage, unlike many.
Dude, he's
great.
coming. I think he's come around. I think that's been a thing. Like he went through a bout of like, people are like, I've got enough of this guy. I've had too much of this guy, and now everyone's just like, nah, he's fantastic. Don't worry about it. Darcy, what was your thoughts on what's his name? Benjamin Franklin
Gates. I loved the movies growing up. Again, my brother, growing up with Kevin as an older brother, he always was showing me all his favorite movies. So I was introduced to Indiana Jones at a young age. But when this came out and I was able to go to the theaters and follow along that mystery that Meg was saying, it was so fun and so engaging. And again, I did a little rewatch before and after watching these episodes, and it holds up. Nick Cage is so charismatic and I buy everything he says as a treasure hunter, and it's so good.
Very cool. Yeah, I definitely remember seeing the first one in theaters in 2000. 4. Oh
Wow.
gosh. But no, the second one I don't think I caught in theaters. I think I watched it, when it got its home release, and I
Sure.
just remember kind of not. It didn't hit as hard for me, that second one. I didn't really enjoy it as much, and maybe I just wasn't following it as well. But that first one, you're right, like Megan, like that was such a fun experience. I think that's one of the things about Jerry Bruckheimer, in the Pirates of the Caribbean ification of Indiana Jones, if you will, right? Like it was kind of this like sort of mishmash, and I think the only part that we talked about snow at the beginning of the podcast, didn't quite hit for me was the American history aspect to it, where I was just kind of like, I'm kind of like, they're like, and then it's like this, and then all the Americans in the audience are like, whoa, and I'm like, I'm learning about that for the first time now. Cool. So definitely a little bit lost on me there, but no, I definitely remember having a lot of fun with those movies. But listen, let's go a little further. We're gonna go a little further into this mystery and unlock this box that is the synopsis for this series. Jess Valenzuela. Her life is turned upside down when an enigmatic stranger gives her a clue to a centuries-old treasure that might be connected to her long-dead father. Jess has a knack for solving puzzles, and her skills are put to the test as she and her friends follow a series of clues hidden in American artifacts and landmarks. But can Jess outsmart a black market antiques dealer in a race to find history's greatest lost treasure and unbury the truth about her family's past? Unbury. I didn't know that was okay. The series stars Lisette Oliveira, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Jake Austin Walker, Jordan Rodriguez, and Zuri Reed, with appearances from Harvey Keitel and Justin Bartha as their characters from the original movies. It was created by Cormac and Marianne Wibberley, and executive produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and will debut with its 2-episode premiere on December 14th, 2022. 2 episodes that we got to watch that we're going to be discussing here today. This won't be like our conventional reviews where we've watched the entire season ahead of time and kind of giving our full thoughts. I don't even think we're going to do a rating at the end of this. We're just going to kind of talk about it, talk about what we're thinking so far. So I'd love to get into it. I kind of want to pass the torch over to you folks to let me know what you've been enjoying so far about this series.
Well, I mean, the premise of it with the introduction of like the Mexican American history and that being the root of this overlying story arc, I find really engaging. I've always found that stuff very intriguing. Growing up and everything like that, I always read into that stuff. So it's neat seeing it brought to, again, this national treasure level of there's a whole mystery connecting everything behind it. I always enjoy these kind of fun alternate history imaginations. So that much has got me hooked, I gotta say. The mystery itself has me intrigued. So that's doing the bare minimum, I'd say.
I think to that point, I am enjoying the subtle moments so far in these first 2 episodes where we've gotten moments where Jess is sort of breaking down moments of American history that maybe are well known, but from the perspective of someone whose family is from Mexico, right? And kind of being, uprooting or uplifting sort of these lesser known facts or, sort of widely understood ideas about American history, and just sort of saying like, that's not it at all. This is completely incorrect. So I do like that. I like how that's kind of taking that from the 2004, 2007 movie and just sort of being like, yeah, I mean, maybe for modern audiences a little bit more, they should probably understand the real truth behind some of these moments in American history. So we've gotten little tiny moments of that and certain lines of dialogue that I'm like, oh, that was pretty smart. But not a ton of it. I'm hoping for a little more of that as the series goes on.
Yeah, I totally agree with your point, Darcy, about the mystery of it all. I think it's so intriguing to watch, and especially a bunch of history, like you said, Nate, that I don't know correctly or at all. So there's definitely a lot of really interesting moments in the show so far. As to sticking to the National Treasure vibe, I don't know if I'm getting that out of this, but I think this will appeal really well to audiences between the age of like 15 to 18, 19 maybe.
Right.
You know, it's young college students going through this sort of thing. So I think an audience that's more within that bracket will really enjoy this.
Yeah, totally, totally. I think they've got a decent chemistry between the main characters. I think the way they introduce our main characters is really fun in this series.
Yes.
I definitely enjoyed that aspect to it. We won't spoil it here. I think it gives us a decent sense of the dynamics between each of their characters. For at least within these first 2 episodes, a very small amount of time that we get all of them in one scene together. I think that was probably the part that I liked the most. And then we kind of split up a little bit. And I mean, obviously, after these 2 episodes, at least according to the poster, we're going to get to see them maybe going on an adventure all together. I think that's probably where the strengths will lie in terms of seeing these characters interact. I like that they haven't so far overwhelmed us with references back to the original movies. I know, a lot of shows in the rebootquel style tend to like overdo it with callbacks and moments. And I think this one does it lightly enough, and it's actually really kind of fun in a visual treasure hunt sort of style, where there's little tiny blink and you miss it sort of things, where I was like pausing it and like reading something and being like, oh, that's from the first movie. Cool. Okay. And so that's kind of neat. I kind of hope they stick with that. I think the only thing that they've kind of really sort of hammered home with it, and we haven't seen the Riley Poole moments yet, but at least with Harvey Keitel's Peter Sadusky coming back, that's probably the closest thing to sort of like hitting you over the head with like the original movie. But I don't know. I think the way they handled it was pretty good.
I mean, we also do get the FBI agent who dismissed the original, the FBI agent who dismissed the original heist that in the first movie. I mean, he pops up and he's giving this, like, he's almost telling his like underling kind of similar things. So it's just very subtle, but he's there.
He's there. They're there. I can't tell you his name. But I think also Jess's I think her spirit is really good. She's a go-getter, and I think they're trying to carry over the Ben Gates sort of characterization for her in a modern sense, and she's a bit too she's super confident and she's really good at figuring out these puzzles. I do think sometimes a bit too convenient at figuring the puzzles out, which that's fine. I get that you got to keep the plot moving along, but sometimes I'm like, does she have superpowers? Like, is she just a superpowered individual at this point? Like,
yeah, I kind of feel that with like almost the whole cast. That's one of my issues with it, is that the problem solving in this happens way too quickly or for the most mundane reason, and it's just like it takes me out of it. Sometimes I'm like getting into it, and all of a sudden they solve the puzzle, and it's like, okay, I don't buy that. Again, when Benjamin Franklin Gates is going on his tangents to get to the answer, I'm with him for every second of the way. But that's where this show is kind of missing that charm, where the problem solving isn't that engaging.
Which is like, because it's in a series format, you think they would take their time in doing things like that. You don't just have a 2.5 hour movie. You have like extended episodes to do this puzzle solving, so it's a little like you don't really get much reward out of it when we're trying to figure it out, and then all of a sudden she's already done it. So
yeah, I kind of wish that, like, I don't know, I feel like the puzzles could be dragged out a little bit more, but the setup feels like they're taking a little bit too long with it. I think, and this is where we'll start to get maybe into what isn't working for us, because I got a lot more to say. It's so tricky when we're talking about 2 episodes of a show that's 10 episodes long at roughly 40 minutes per episode. And I get that, for a treasure hunting mystery show, it requires setup. They have to set up the overarching story. But with 92 minutes in, I should feel hooked. I should have at least something that kind of gets me to a place where I'm like, oh, I need to see the next episode. Yeah. And honestly, if we had to, wait, 4 weeks, a month to see the next episode, I don't know if I would care. I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I need to see it right now. And I like you were saying, Megan, I think they are going for a younger audience, which is great. Like, honestly, that's fantastic. They're trying to get families together to enjoy this fun treasure hunt series. But it feels kind of strange in the sense that when we usually when we say younger audience, we're referring to like kids. Like kids. And this is very much, to your point, Megan, in that sort of range of like, I would even go so far as to say 18 to 22 years old.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, I don't know, it feels like if they're expecting parents who had their kids back in 2004 when the first movie came out to sit down and watch this with their 18-year-old kids. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it just kind of feels like they're going after like the TikTok generation. And I feel like, unfortunately, that's a little bit at the abandonment of the built-in returning audience of people who grew up watching the original movies from 2004 and 2007, like us, unfortunately. But I think there's a ton of people out there that you're going to lose that connection to these main characters. And I get that we've got Riley Poole coming in. I get that we've got, Harvey Keitel's character in here. But those, I don't know if they're going to do enough with that. I think it's going to be pretty limited. And so it's like, is that going to be enough to keep some of these older audiences, the people who are like actually caring to watch this show in the first place? I don't know if it's going to keep them around. I don't know.
Well, and we talk about that age bracket. I feel like it's so small. Like you're really, really applying this show to such a specific group, and it's not wide enough range to have different age groups watching it and enjoying it in the same way, I guess. I also find that, yes, we're getting 2 actors back from the original movies. That's great. There's little sprinkled bits of, if you can catch it, you'll see something from the original movies. But I don't think there's enough to connect this with those films that, like, it would pull audiences that have watched those movies to come and watch this. And there's lots about it that is missing from those original movies and why those ones were so much fun. And for me, it's the puzzles. I loved trying to solve those things on the same time as Ben Gates and getting ahead of him and maybe going, oh, I know where that thing is. And in this show, you just don't get the chance to do that because she's just like solving it in front of your face rather than you getting to anticipate what she's going to do. So, there's a lot missing to connect older audiences or people who enjoyed the movies.
Well, it doesn't feel like it's bringing back those vibes, but it also doesn't feel like it's crafting its own style. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's its own thing either. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, is it going to have its own style? Is it going to do its own thing based off of what we've seen so far? And again, I know it's only 2 episodes, but it's 92 minutes in. Like, it's you got to introduce yourself well. You got to, especially with today's audiences, especially with the TikTok audiences, you got to be right there. You got to show up and say, this is me, this is what we're about, and this is why you got to keep watching. And I just didn't get it.
Well, and I feel too that I found myself zoning out a lot, which I don't feel like I do when I watch shows. And there were a lot of moments where I was like, wait, I don't think I really absorbed any of that because either there was too much exposition or like none at all, and I didn't know what was happening. Specifically with Catherine Zeta-Jones' character. Sure, maybe in the future episodes they'll explain what it is that she's doing because, in the synopsis they talked about her being a black market treasure hunter or whatever. Yeah. But in these first 2 episodes, I'm like, who are you and what are your motives? I don't understand. And it makes no sense. And then all of a sudden she's like, I don't know. It just doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah, it feels like they read a synopsis of the first 2 movies and it's like, okay, we'll do that, and then just didn't really bring any character to it because you can, again, watching these first 2 episodes, they're filling all these roles and these, the story moments and stuff like that you recognize from the first movie, but they're not done in any unique way and just kind of feel so out of place. There's no connection to this writing. It's like the writing is so inconsistent where I'll be finding myself starting to get drawn in and then completely taken out of it, and it's all over the place. I don't know where they thought they were going with the show because they have so many different like starting points for potential genres or whatever, and then reverting right back to this mystery story that isn't that good.
Yeah, yeah, and I think especially along the lines of the exposition with Catherine Zeta-Jones, like it's Catherine Zeta-Jones. You know what I mean? Like
She should be a
she's
powerhouse.
fantastic. She should be a powerhouse. She should be a larger than life character. And she should be showing us why we should be worried about her. You know, in these first 2 episodes, like we should have at least one moment that would be like, oh my gosh, we got to get as far away from this person as possible. And I didn't get that at all. I feel like maybe they're going to kind of push her to be like eventually a character that's like, oh, she's actually not bad. We only made it seem like she's bad. And that's kind of the vibes I'm getting now. But like, I don't know, give me a villain. Give me a good villain for these. I think, I think there's some things that they're doing again that they just fall into the young adult tropes that I want to not see. Unfortunately, like there's at least 2 instances of the word stan or stanning, which like that's cool. But it just makes me feel like I'm watching these characters from outside their friend group instead of going on an adventure with them.
Yep.
And that's fine. You know what? If this show's not made for me, it's not made for me. That's okay. But I kind of feel like it's called National Treasure, so it should be made for at least the people that watch the original movies. And it just doesn't feel like it is. Like, I don't know, just standing. Like, do you guys say standing in your normal day to day?
No, it is not part of my vernacular.
No, say standing. Listen, I was impressed for like a hot minute that maybe we'd get a non-romantic relationship between Jess and her best friend Ethan. But sadly, like a lot of shows for this age demo, we're going to be getting some sort of love triangle, I feel. And I'm still waiting on the show that avoids this garbage. Like, I'm just waiting on the show because so far the love triangle thing is, especially for these types of shows, is so overdone. It's so unoriginal. And I don't know why we still need to be doing this with these characters. Like, give us a friendship between a male and a female character. Like, we've seen it done in other stories in the past, and I don't know.
And in real life, like...
Yeah, and in real life, absolutely. It's like, we can be friends without having to, like, get it on. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about these first 2 episodes before we get to our final thoughts or anything else you want to add?
I will say that I thought it was going to be a lot more geared towards an even lower demographic. When I saw the first trailer, I did think it was like, oh, this is going to be a show for kids. We'll watch it. I'm sure it'll be fun, but, So I will say I was pleasantly surprised that it was geared towards a little bit older of an age demographic. Just kind of wish it was more relatable to the masses rather than super specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like as far as because you bring up the age range, I think the trailers and then even watching these first 2 episodes, the performances are giving me... This sounds rude because I'm not an actor, and so like, what do I know? But just from watching these things and going to Disney parks, the performances are giving me like slightly above the Disney like videos like you'd see on the rides, right? Like where they'd have those video walls and like the characters would come out and be like, we have to do this thing, and be like, okay, come on, let's go. And like these like it's giving me slightly above those performances of those ride experiences. So maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know.
To be honest, it's sort of mimicking like early 2000s Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place. Like, it's a Disney Channel vibe
show.
Mm-hmm. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But if they leaned into that more, I would be like, awesome. That's great. It feels like a Disney Channel thing. But now it's like, oh, it kind of feels like a Disney Channel thing.
Yeah, like pick a lane. If you're going to be a Disney Channel show, be an epic, awesome Disney Channel show. Because I would still go back and watch Hannah Montana. As much as it's like super cheeseball, it's still so fun. This like does that, but then also tries to be mature, and it just doesn't find the right sort of mixture of the two, I guess.
It's just inconsistent. That's just my word to sum up these 2 episodes at the very least. Is just inconsistent, and that it doesn't know what it's trying to be while trying to be something so specific. It's so odd. Yeah. The feeling I have after watching these 2 episodes is just so bizarre. Being like, I want to watch more, but I don't. Like, it's weird.
Well, let's get into that. Let's get into our final thoughts on this these first 2 episodes. And again, instead of rating it, we're just going to get to our thoughts on whether or not you'll be returning to the series for more, or if you are going to hang up your, I don't know, what does Ben Gates hang up when he after an adventure? I was gonna
his book,
his
book of notes,
Does he
his
wear a hat?
little
His book. Yes.
book. I don't know.
Are you gonna be putting your book in a shelf?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you're not gonna go back.
I think I'll try to watch another episode, but
Yeah.
if the fact is that I'm trying to watch it and not wanting to watch it, I feel like there's so much content on Disney Plus and other platforms that, like, unfortunately this one's probably going to go on the wayside, and just I don't think I'll take in much more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a lot of free time coming up as we enter the holiday season, so I'll probably tune in for a few more episodes. Again, the mystery has me wondering what the answer is. So if I don't watch it, at the very least, I'll be watching those final two episodes to figure out what the answer is, because it is already kind of at the back of my mind, just kind of stewing there already. So I mean, that is something.
Yeah. I also just quickly want to say that Riley Poole was my favorite character from the original movies. So I may stick around to just wait to see his cameo.
See his cameo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of getting the same feeling after Darcy. We talked about the Santa Clauses, where I did watch more of the Santa Clauses. I'm watching more of it, but it's mostly just to sort of see, like, well, how does that turn out? It's not so much to be like, I can't wait to go back. And at least with the Santa Clauses, it's like Christmas feeling, like we're in the holidays.
Yeah.
So like there's that. Whereas like the show doesn't really have that. I think after these first two episodes, I'm not fully invested. It hasn't given me much confidence that it's going to pick up. And I think, I'll watch maybe a few more episodes, like you said, maybe to see how the Riley Poole thing turns out. But I don't know. I don't know if general audiences are going to give it past these 92 minutes. And especially the age demographic that they're going for, who haven't seen the original movies. I don't know if they're even going to dip into this unless their parents, be like, you have to watch this or something. I don't know. So again, it's tough to review these after two episodes. So take these opinions with a grain of salt. The show could magically get much better, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So we'll see. But as of right now, I feel like this is a National Treasure series that's in need of a map to get back to, what made us stan the original movies so much. So that is it. We hope you enjoyed this spoiler-free discussion for the first two episodes of National Treasure, Edge of History. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts on this series, maybe you ended up, you watch these two episodes, you come back, listen to this review, like, I don't know what they're talking about. It's amazing. You let us know what you think about it. And if you want to let us know what you think, I'm gonna go ahead and solve an ancient puzzle and send a cryptic message over to Megan so she can decipher it and tell you where you can reach us.
You can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or if you are sick of the treasure hunt and just want to get straight to the point, they can find us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Yeah, or just go back and watch the original movies instead of this. Keep in mind, we have a ton of other episodes covering the latest and greatest movies out now, like our recent spoiler-free reviews for Willow, which is a much better rebootful, oh my gosh, than this. So definitely check that out. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Strange World, and Disenchanted, all from Disney. And our spoiler-free reviews for Netflix's Wednesday, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story, and Slumberland. Catherine Zeta-Jones also in Wednesday, as well as Morticia, and she's fantastic in that. And we also have a ton of interviews, like our most recent interview with the cast and showrunner of Willow. And soon, we may have even talked to some folks from a certain blue watery movie coming up. So if you want to solve that mystery, make sure to check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric or Geekcentric. That one you won't find anything. And check out all of our interviews there. Make sure to click all the things, click the bell, share the videos, leave our podcast a beautiful 5-star review if you're enjoying this content. And heck, while you're there, leave us a written review. We'd love to know are you enjoying the show? Are you listening to it at all? Let us know. Megan, Darcy, thank you so much for joining me for this historical review. And as we say, love ya.
Bye.
Laters.